One wants society, another variety, others a tranquil life. Some want food, others as good only want a wife. But this poor little cat only wanted a rat to stuff out its own little maw. And it were as good some people had such food to make them head down to the
Two-Cat Kitchen. It's time for us to pitch in and start another Two-Cat show. Down at the Two-Cat Kitchen, we're starting on a mission to put you in the culinary know. We've got the finest recipes you ever will find, guaranteed to show you all a mighty fine time here at the Two-Cat Kitchen. Time for a new edition of the Culinary Two-Cat Show. The Culinary Two-Cat Show.
Welcome to the Two-Cat Kitchen, the show that mixes musical mayhem with culinary calamity. Sarah Grady is here to help with the mixing.
I sure am.
Each episode of the Two-Cat Kitchen features new songs, a new recipe, and, well, you know, Sarah, this is the first episode of our new season, and we're going to mix things up a bit and have a themed episode. What's our theme for today?
Today's episode is all about Meat Loaf, the artist and the food. We're going to take a look at the artistry of Meat Loaf and feature a fantastic vegan meatloaf recipe.
That's right. And later in the episode, Chi Chi Pekingese, resident expert in pop music history, will bring us up to speed on Meat Loaf's long and accomplished career as an actor, singer, and performer. But first, do you know where the Coconotes are? It's almost time for our first musical number.
Let me check. They're not there, but they left a note. It says, "Dear Two Cats, we are so excited to do this meatloaf episode. We're in our other studio putting the finishing touches on our meatloaf cover for later in the episode. Love you like bats out of hell. The Coconotes."
Oh, okay. Well, now that I think about it, our first musical number is one from the archives. It's members of the Coconotes, joined by Hank Walther on keys, Gennari on bass, and Kristi Martel on vocals, with Sweet Marie. Let's check it out.
All of the time, Sweet Marie, I'm telling you to keep on walking and a talking and a doing that thing you do.
Yeah, Sweet Marie.
She takes those sweet boys, spins them walking the line. She got the sweetest little smile I ever did see. I only wish I could say she was smiling at me. Sweet Marie, I'm telling you to keep on walking and talking and doing that thing you do.
Yes, sweet Marie.
Oh, sweet Marie. Yeah, sweet Marie.
Sweet, 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 sweet.
You keep on walking and talking and doing that thing you do.
We're back at the Two Cat Kitchen. It's time for our recipe.
Yes, something a little different this time. We'll be narrating a video recipe. Folks listening at home, you can follow along by going to our Two Cat Kitchen YouTube channel and watching the recipe there. The video is called Meat Loaf. And you know, Sarah, it's actually a vegan meatloaf recipe.
Wow.
Yeah, but which is interesting because Meat Loaf the artist was actually a vegetarian for a period of his life. Very paradoxical given his name.
Well, sounds good. Let's
Okay.
get to the recipe.
Great. All right, we are starting our recipe in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, what do we have here?
All right.
We have some.
So-
I think we're going through the ingredients first. First ingredient.
I thought that was an egg at first.
Strange. Yeah, egg-sized onion. Oh,
A very large. Oh,
Nope.
carrot.
carrots. 2 carrots. 2 small carrots. All right, one medium onion. 2 small carrots.
2 sticks of celery.
2 small. Oh, what is that?
Garlic cloves.
3 cloves garlic. So 1 medium onion, 2 small carrots, 2 small sticks of celery, and 3 cloves of garlic. And what's happening now? We are
Chopping up the garlic.
chopping up the garlic. It looks like probably the idea here, if I had to guess, is that we want to mince the garlic.
No escapee there. Yeah.
This could take a while.
Oh.
Luckily,
Oh, more garlic. Yeah, we got the little pieces.
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I don't know. I might enjoy getting a big surprise chunk of garlic in my meatloaf. I like garlic.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely minced garlic. So we've taken the 3 garlic
got the
cloves and we
slice.
have minced them. Now we're starting on the onion.
You know, there's a more efficient way to cut an onion.
This person doing the recipe does not know how to chop vegetables. I can tell you that right now because I know from personal experience that this person is. So we are in the Two Cat Kitchen, you know, Sarah.
Yeah. Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean we know how to cook. And this person
Yeah.
does not know what he's doing. Or I'm assuming it's a he because
Those look like man hands.
I don't think that. Anyway, we don't.
Manhandling the onion.
Manhandling the onions, trying to make. It looks like the goal. If I had to say,
Is that a dice?
the goal is to also dice the onions
Yes.
into small pieces, which sort of makes
Again,
sense.
chunk of
dicing.
onion, chunk of garlic. Oh, there's one that's a little bit needs
quite
a
a
little bonus.
Quite a
knife
few
action
that
on
are
them.
bigger here. So this is interesting.
There
So
you
we
go,
have
you got it.
all right. It looks like we're going to be dicing the vegetables, and that's probably a very important
That
component.
makes sense.
We're
Making
moving
kind of
on. Moving on.
This is a mirepoix.
A what? A mere
Yeah,
claw?
a mirepoix when you have the celery and the carrots and the onions.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is
Yeah,
that? I don't know.
it-
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's like when you cook all of those up together, it's like a base for all sorts of things, chicken soup, and in this case, meatloaf.
Oh, so you're saying that this vegetable combo here that we're talking about,
Classic.
classic vegetable combo, onions, carrots, celery, and garlic. Minced. It looks like we're attempting to mince the carrots as well. But again, this idiot doesn't seem to know what he's doing here.
But you could take this anywhere. This could be a chicken soup start situation. This could be some stuffing. So it's exciting. Although meatloaf in its own way is kind of stuffing-esque, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree. So if we didn't know what this recipe was, we would say that we wouldn't know what it is at this point, just based on the ingredients, because it could be anything. But we're moving on to the celery. We're chopping the celery, and we took the knotty bits off the celery. It looks like. So
I didn't realize.
And then the person is struggling with the, when you chop up celery, you get those little freaking stringy things or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can't get it to actually cut unless you have a decent knife, which obviously we don't have here. This person that's doing the recipe, for those of you listening along on the Two Cat Kitchen, the person making the recipe not only does not know what he is doing, but does not have the proper implements to accomplish what he is trying to accomplish. So it's amazing that anything has been diced at all. And we're having some stop motion here on the
There's
the video.
attractive little piles of all of the ingredients, though.
It looks pretty good. Aha, something else.
What is it? Mise en place? Ooh, olive oil.
Olive oil.
Okay,
So
the
another
next thing is
ingredient. Olive oil. All right. Looks like we're getting
Olive
an implement of measurement.
Some measurement. I'm trying to read it here.
2 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay. So we have more ingredients. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So we've got the olive oil measured out into a little thing. And now what's going to happen?
A prep bowl. A little
the
prep
olive
bowl.
oil is going away. No. All right, we're waiting with anticipation as to what's going to happen.
Next?
We have our ingredients so far. The olive oil is going. It's going into a pan.
Ooh, oh.
Olive oil into a saucepan, or not a saucepan.
A saucepan. Testing the heat of the oil with one little tiny piece of onion, which is a good strategy.
So the olive oil is into a pan.
They recommend you do that. That's good. Yeah.
Olive oil in a pan.
That oil, you can wait till the oil shimmers, or you can test it with a little tiny piece of onion.
Excellent. All right.
And onions, garlic going in, carrots going in.
Everything
celery,
into
everything.
Everything into a fry pan with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, all the vegetables.
Yep, and this fry pan, 12-inch.
Looks like we're under medium heat, and we are sautéing the vegetables.
Mm-hmm. Until they're fragrant.
And this, I must say that if you happen to be watching this along with us, it's one of the worst quality recipe videos I've ever seen, and which is kind of fits right in with the Two Cat Kitchen here. Obviously, our video capability has not made it, and so now I think the vegetables are starting to simmer.
I'm kind of hoping for a cutaway.
Yeah, it could be a long time. So how long do you think you would cook vegetables? These what do you call it?
Oh gosh.
A mirepoix? A mirepoix?
Mirepoix. Yeah.
A foie gras?
Yeah. This is why on actual cooking shows they have they have like 3 pans going at once with different phases of the recipe. Julia Childs or whoever, they have the roasted chicken.
Oh, I see.
Ready to go.
Yeah, they have
pull out of the second oven.
Yeah.
There's steam.
It's starting to cook. Yeah. So I guess the point here being we're on sautéing the vegetables under medium heat.
Bubbling.
It looks like we'll keep them. Action! There's action. No, more ingredients.
There we go.
Did you catch that?
Bio Italia. Are those must be organic garbanzo beans?
All right, we have
organic black beans, garbanzo beans, chickpeas.
A 15-ounce can of chickpeas, garbanzo beans, and a 15-ounce can of garbanzo beans are going into
I
this.
figured I would call them garbanzo beans since the brand was Bio Italia.
Yeah, that's a good point.
we
It's
are
obviously sophisticated.
sponsored
These are
by Bio
sophisticated beans.
But
All right, so you're emptying both.
draining the
Yeah.
black beans.
I think the message here, the fact that we have the beans are going into a colander, which means that they're going to be drained. But one of the
Yes.
questions now is, do you drain them or do you drain and rinse them? Stay tuned.
Well, You want to know a really interesting fact is that see how that's foaming kind of?
yeah.
The liquid that is in a can of chickpeas is called aquafaba.
Aquafaba.
And it actually is like you can use it to do all sorts of things. You can use it to make like fake meringues,
Oh.
and you can use it to replace eggs in vegan recipes. So
But
maybe that's a hint.
It doesn't look like we're doing that here because it looks like, we're pouring water over the beans. And I think the point is that we are draining the beans and rinsing them.
Not to confuse the listeners, we are definitely rinsing these black beans and garbanzo/chickpeas,
yes.
and not reserving the canned liquid to make pretend meringues.
Okay, absolutely. No meringue happening here.
I shouldn't call them pretend meringues. Vegan meringues.
The beans are back. They are rinsed. They are in a bowl.
Oh,
and
mash.
now we're mashing them.
This must be very satisfying for the person making this.
Well, it's the same person who doesn't know what they're doing, obviously. So they're trying to mash the beans, but not having much luck.
For those who are not watching, the various kinds of beans are getting stuck in the masher.
Yep. But it looks like we've gotten them.
Looks like there's success.
Yeah, we've gotten to a consistency where they're not totally mashed, but there's still some chunks. And what's happening? Something exciting is happening.
Looks like the vegetables from the saucepan are going in with the bean mixture.
Okay.
This is good because I was wondering at the beginning, what was going to replace the meat in the meatloaf, and it appears to be bean.
Yeah, so it's in the
bean
vegan
loaf.
meatloaf, we have beans. So now we have the vegetables that had been sauteed for 5 minutes under medium heat are mixed in with the beans.
Yeah.
What
they have
is
not
coming
mixed
next?
in.
Something has got to be
Yeah.
coming next.
The mixing, I imagine.
We'll
As we
see.
always say, someone is here to help with the mixing. So
Something here looks like soy sauce. Soy sauce, tablespoon.
I was going to guess balsamic vinegar, but I think soy sauce makes more sense.
1, 2, 2
Two.
tablespoons soy sauce into the mixture.
That adds some umami flavor,
Umami. Ooh,
which brings that meatiness to the vegan meatloaf.
interesting. That's great.
And also provides salt because if you imagine, the beans probably require some salt there.
Another ingredient. It's Worcestershire sauce. And this looks like we have one tablespoon with about another half a tablespoon spilled off to the side, and 2 tablespoons with another half. Okay, so maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce.
2 generous tablespoons.
That's interesting. So we have soy sauce and Worcestershire sauce, as they say. Another ingredient.
Ooh, ketchup.
And we have one. It looked like. Let me see if I can read the measurement here. 1/4 cup.
That looks like a very antique quarter cup.
Yeah, it's
I
an
like
old
it.
school measuring cup, and it's a 1/4 cup, and we're putting a 1/4 cup of ketchup into the mixture. And boy, whatever happened to the days when ketchup was really hard to get out of the bottle? Because that came right out.
The squeeze bottle.
Yeah.
It's a big controversy in the meatloaf making world among people who make meatloaf, whether you should put ketchup on top of your meatloaf.
Okay. Well, we're putting ketchup in. Oh, another ingredient coming up. I'm guessing
A powder.
It is. We got a 2. I'm thinking flax, ground flax seed, 2
Oh, man.
tablespoons. And another one, if I had to guess, I would say nutritional yeast, 3. Nutritional yeast, 3 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed and 3 tablespoons nutritional yeast. And what do we have here?
Now it's starting to sound like, that's more like stereotypical kind of vegan recipe with all that flax and nutritional yeast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Breadcrumbs coming next.
But I bet that adds good texture and flavor. Breadcrumbs?
Yep.
How much?
Looks like 1 cup of breadcrumbs. 1 cup.
Did you catch whether these were the kind of breadcrumbs that have the Italian flavor in them?
I did not. Maybe we'll see again. Oh, I can see the breadcrumb can.
Italian, yeah.
And
it
they
says
are
Italian.
definitely Italian breadcrumbs. 1 cup. So we're moving right along on our recipe here. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's getting some wet
Here,
ingredients, some dry
we're looking at the
ingredients.
breadcrumbs again. Thank you, sir.
Oh, good. Good.
Now we know.
Answering my question.
1 cup of breadcrumbs.
1 cup.
Obviously,
All right,
whoever was editing the video forgot that we had already seen the breadcrumbs, so we got to see them again.
I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, good thing. Yeah, they must have heard your question.
Yeah.
Hey, we're mixing it all together,
Wow.
and this could take a while. So, oh no, actually, we're cutting away.
Ooh,
to-
that was a fancy.
Fancy
Fancy
yeah, we had a
edit.
fancy change of scene, and we're back, and we've had all our ingredients kind of mixed together, and everything's rotating slightly. Have you noticed that the video is rotating? This is this is an advanced effect here in the Two Cat Kitchen.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The video is moving around in a circle. It's moving counterclockwise while the meatloaf is being mixed.
It's like when you switch your mapping in your car to like
Yeah.
point whatever direction your car is going versus just staying north.
Yeah, that's kind of
Oh,
what's
this is
happening
a
now.
little. This is like tilted now.
Okay, so we have the mixture, and we're working with a loaf pan. It looks like a 9-inch loaf pan. Adding some oil to the loaf pan, and we're
Oh
kind
my
of
god. It's gonna be upside down soon.
we're spreading that. Well, not necessarily. It's just a different perspective here. We're still rotating. I'm getting a little bit seasick here, actually, to be honest with you, if you're watching along. Why is the video rotating? I don't know. Who knows? You get it all here at the Two Cat Kitchen.
Special
And-
effect.
All right, we have the well-oiled loaf pan, 9-inch loaf pan, and we are adding the mixture into the loaf pan.
All right. And once we pack it all in there, folks, it's done. You don't even have to cook it. Just eat it with a spoon.
That's not. I don't think that's true. I don't know how this person is going to fit everything in this loaf pan, but they're doing a good job given that it's rotating on them.
That's the nice thing about vegan food is that, like, for the most part,
It's compressible.
compressible. I think you, because it doesn't have meat in it, you can eat it at any point in the recipe.
That's true. You
You
don't have to
know,
worry about it being cooked.
You're not like, oh, I added eggs. Like, I gotta pretend I'm concerned about eating cookie dough. We
Right.
do not advise eating raw cookie dough here on the Two Cat Kitchen for
No.
reasons. More because of flour than the eggs, though. Apparently, raw flour, actually is more likely to make you sick than raw eggs. Supposedly,
All right. So the meatloaf has made it into the loaf
packed
pan.
in.
It's being packed in.
I like it. It's very colorful.
Yeah, it looks pretty good,
Those
and I
carrots.
think we've come full circle in our rotation of the video, and we're back where we started.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it's a handsome looking meatloaf here, and
Looks really good.
yeah.
I'm very hungry right now, so this looks amazing to me.
So what's going to happen next? I can only imagine that the next step might be to put it in an oven. And
I guess,
we'll
yeah.
stay tuned for those of you we're putting foil on top of the loaf pan. This is do you know what they call it on the Great British Bake Off? We'll get back to that.
Aluminium?
We're going. It's going in the oven. Oh, We're seeing who the idiot that made it is, and we don't want to say who it was. And here's the details. Oven set at 375 for 30 minutes. 375 for 30 minutes. Now, another step here. We have ketchup, 1/3 cup of ketchup. We are now answering the question, I think, as to whether we want to put ketchup on top or not. And it looks like we're making something that was probably going to go on top of the meatloaf. So we have 1/3. This is a separate part of the recipe, I think. 1/3
In a different bowl. Yeah.
in a different bowl. 1/3 cup.
Oh, just leave in the cup.
It's kind of novel techniques here. Okay. We have a
One
tablespoon.
teaspoon?
No, it's a tablespoon.
That would,
Teaspoon. Yeah, you're right. Worcestershire sauce again. 1/3 cup ketchup, 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire.
or 5 milliliters, I think it said on it. So
5
something
milliliters
like-
if you're metric. And we're mixing that up. So there we go. That looks like a simple, which I'm thinking is going to be the topping on the meatloaf.
like a glaze.
Like a glaze. All right. Here we go. The meatloaf is come out. We're skipping ahead 30 minutes. The
Some good
meatloaf.
safety there with the pot holder.
Yeah.
All right.
Meat-
It does not look too different, but that's because the foil was on it. You know, foil, with the foil on, you're not going to get that, crispy top. But I bet once you have this glaze on and it goes in the oven, again, perhaps, it's going to get that bonus shine and sheen and crispiness looking.
Okay,
gonna
so
be delicious.
and all the ketchup Worcestershire mixture has gone on top of the meatloaf.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little rustic,
Yeah.
but
And spread.
all right.
Just the back of
and,
a spoon. It's adequate. It's,
Yeah. Now what's going to happen? It looks like
I'm guessing oven again. Yeah.
okay. We'll see. It's going. Oh, you're right. Back in the oven. Let's see if we can get some of the details. It looks like 375 for an additional 15 minutes.
Mm.
And I think we're done.
Oh.
Well, we've jumped ahead.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it's done. It's got it. Well, it doesn't look much different than when we put it in the oven, I don't think. But again.
But look at the edges, though. The edges look definitely like it's been cooked.
Okay. So there we go. We're done. We're out of the oven and we're going to serve it up.
Get that
Oh,
first
it
slice
looks
out.
good.
Look
It's
at
hot.
that, nice and oh my, yeah.
Steamy. And yeah, there we go. I think we're complete. It's not a very difficult recipe, And let's take a look. We'll see if we can
Pretty
see.
healthy.
We can see the final result. There it is. A nice slice of vegan
That's good.
meatloaf. Beautiful.
They're saying people should substitute, a couple meals a week with vegetarian food instead of eating meat. So this might be a good thing for people to make.
Yeah. And that was it. And you know what? Well, actually, the next thing for me in the following that video was Chaka Khan Tiny Desk concert. That looked pretty good. Let's check that out while we're eating a piece of.
I think
meatloaf.
I had a Jake Gyllenhaal SNL skit.
Even better. All right, let's take a break. Sarah, we're gonna go try a piece of the vegan meatloaf, and we'll be back and let the folks at home know how it came out.
All right.
All right, we're back, and Sarah, we've been tasting the vegan meatloaf, and wow, I must say it's not too bad. It's great. It's got a nice texture to it. I would say that it's probably good to eat it while warm because it tasted pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I really was. I don't want to say I was surprised, but I think it was pretty delicious. It's not an exact substitute for meatloaf. But it stands on its own, I would say.
Yeah, and it's I'll tell you one thing that I think a real good thing about this recipe is that the addition of the ketchup. I know that might be somewhat controversial. You alluded to that earlier, but the fact that this particular meatloaf has ketchup within and on top, to me, I'll tell you, it just made all the difference because it was basically, this meatloaf is a good vehicle for ketchup, and who doesn't love ketchup? I love ketchup, so, I love this meatloaf.
So yeah, I mean, I would say if you are a ketchup person, that this is the perfect vegan meatloaf for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if, like, say you're a Grey Poupon person, then you might want to substitute Grey Poupon for the ketchup, right? Is that possible? Or
I don't know.
That might be
mustard.
one way
It
to go.
might be interesting. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So
that's good. I mean, you could tell. I mean, I don't know if this is an endorsement necessarily, but I'm always looking for good ways to get a lot of protein and a lot of fiber, and so it gets a thumbs up in my book, nutritionally at least.
Yeah, and it's got good simple ingredients, and there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Sarah. Thanks for your input, and we'll wrap up this recipe portion of the show, and we'll be right back here at the Two Cat Kitchen. We're back at the Two Cat Kitchen. It's time for another musical number. The Coconotes have put together another cover of a song by The Cure. What's up with the Cure songs? This is the third episode in a row that features one of their songs.
Well, we're trying to increase our goth and 80s fan demographic. And so, come for the goth music, stay for the folk and bluegrass.
Oh, okay. And actually, who doesn't love The Cure? Can't get any better than that.
I think everybody does.
Yeah. All right. It's the Coconotes with Just Like Heaven.
Show me how you do that trick. The one that makes me scream, she said. The one that makes me laugh, she said. And threw her arms around my neck. Show me how you do it. And I promise that I'll run away with you. I'll run away with you. Dancing in the deepest oceans, twisting in the water. You're just like a dream. You're just like a dream. breathe her name, I opened up my eyes and found myself alone, alone, alone above a raging sea. Stole the only girl I loved, drowned her deep inside of me. You, soft and lonely, you, lost and lonely, you, just like heaven.
We're back at the Two Cat Kitchen. Next up, it's Magical Moments in Musical History with Chi Chi Pekingese. Let me guess. She'll be talking about Meat Loaf.
Meat Loaf, the artist, that is.
Let's hope so.
Magic moments in music history. Magic memories made for you and me. Do you remember the way things used to be? Magic moments in history with Chi Chi Pekingese.
I'm here with Chi Chi Pekingese, resident expert in pop music history here at the Two Cat Kitchen. What do you have for us today?
Today we're taking a look at a truly iconic figure in the history of pop music, one of the best-selling music artists in history.
Oh, you mean Tiny Tim?
Not exactly. This legendary singer and actor appeared in a number of films and television shows and is remembered for his virtuosic voice and theatrical live shows. He even appeared in the original Broadway version of the Rocky Horror Show and later in the Broadway musical Hair. We're talking about Meat Loaf.
Wow, Meat Loaf. I must admit, he's one artist I don't remember a lot about.
Not surprising, if you grew up listening to American pop music in the 70s and 80s. While he was certainly popular in the US and sold millions of records here, his real notoriety came in the UK and Europe, where his songs and albums consistently topped the pop charts.
Interesting. You know, when I think of Meat Loaf, I think of epic rock songs and ballads with high-energy performances. Maybe that can be attributed to his background in theater?
Actually, a lot of the credit has to go to Jim Steinman, a composer and lyricist who wrote a lot of Meat Loaf's hit songs, including those on the legendary album Bat Out of Hell. It was their first collaboration and one of the best-selling rock albums of all time.
I see. Oh, it's all starting to make sense now. So he was a popular figure in England?
Well, not originally. He performed in the UK with several bands that achieved limited success, but eventually became a fan favorite. After accepting the invitation from Lennon to join the band, he faced initial criticism from irate fans who were upset at the change in personnel. Following his appearance at the Cavern Club the following day, Pete Best fans, upset by his firing, held vigils outside his house and at the club. During his first recording session with the band, producer George Martin went so far as to bring in a studio drummer. Not exactly a vote of confidence, but by November of 1962, he had been accepted by the fans, who were now calling for him to sing. He even began receiving an amount of fan mail equal to that of the others, which helped secure his position with the band.
Wait a minute, Chi Chi. Are we still talking about Meat Loaf? It sounds like you're describing the early musical exploits of Ringo.
No, their early careers didn't really overlap. Meat Loaf was popular in England in the late 70s and 80s, and by that time Ringo was well into his solo career. In 1980, he released Stop and Smell the Roses, featuring songs produced by several popular artists, including Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ronnie Wood, and Stephen Stills. The album's lead single, the Harrison-composed Rack My Brain, reached number 38 in the U.S. charts, but failed to chart in the U.K.
Okay, Chi Chi. Well, getting back to Meat Loaf, how did he get his nickname?
That's an interesting story. His mom was a school teacher and sang in a gospel quartet. His father was an entrepreneur and was the one responsible for the name. Meat Loaf himself explained the name in a 2015 interview with Verity Edwards for The Australian. I was born bright red and stayed that way for days. My father said in his best Southern accent, "My son looks like 9 pounds of ground chuck." He talked them into putting the name Meat on my crib, and it stuck. I was born Marvin, but in 1984 I legally changed it to Michael. Only my wife calls me that. Meat's not really that weird. Think of Frank or Chuck or Stu. He was born Marvin Lee, and while in school, he became known as ML for his initials, which then morphed into Meat Loaf.
That is interesting. You know, I heard he did some singing before he came out with his hit album collaborations with Steinman.
Oh, yes. He was signed in the early 70s by the Motown label. He recorded an album with the singer Sean Murphy, a.k.a. Stoney, titled Stoney and Meat Loaf. It included a bunch of tunes selected by the Motown production team, including the single, What You See Is What You Get, which reached number 71 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Meat Loaf and Stoney toured briefly with Jake Wade and the Soul Searchers, opening for Richie Havens, The Who, Bob Seger, and Alice Cooper, among others.
Pretty impressive. How long did he tour with Jake Wade?
Not very long. He left Motown soon after the label replaced his and Stoney's vocals from the one song on the album he liked, Who is the Leader of the People, with new vocals by Edwin Starr.
Oh, wow. The guy who sang War.
Yes, and also Agent 00 Soul.
So, Meat Loaf and Steinman were arguably best known for their Bat Out of Hell albums, but I understand they didn't have much success initially getting a record label to pick up the projects.
Meat Loaf and Steinman started working on Bat Out of Hell in 1972, but it was at the end of 1974 before they worked on it in earnest. At that time, Meat Loaf decided to leave theater and concentrate exclusively on music. Once the songs for the album were completed, they spent time seeking a record deal, but their approaches were rejected by a number of labels because their songs didn't fit any specific recognized music industry style. There was a famous quote allegedly attributed to the legendary producer Clive Davis, claiming that actors don't make records, and challenging Steinman's writing abilities and knowledge of rock music. Quote, "Do you know how to write a song? Do you know anything about writing? If you're going to write for records, it goes like this, A, B, C, B, C, C. I don't know what you're doing. You're doing A, D, F, G, B, D, C. You don't know how to write a song." End quote.
Pretty harsh words, but he does have a point. The songs are pretty much through composed, certainly not the formulaic stuff pop music producers were looking for at the time.
Perhaps they were ahead of their time. The album initially received mixed reviews, but eventually the critics came around. The overwhelming consensus was that they had created a popular masterpiece, a rich, sustained, and overflowing work of collaborative genius. It became the catalyst for an explosion of mass enthusiasm for album-formatted rock that would revolutionize both the aesthetics and the economics of the record business in ways that far outstripped the earlier pop explosions triggered by the Elvis phenomenon of 1956 and the Beatlemania phenomenon of 1963. From 1963 to 1967, they increasingly broke with the established rock and pop conventions. Adding to the sophistication of the compositions was the application of modal mixture, wider chord palettes, and extended form. One of the hallmarks was their use of the flattened subtonic chord. Although it was already a staple of rock and roll music, they further developed and popularized the chord's function in popular music. Another is their subversion of pop standard AABA form. Few artists wrote songs with bridge sections until the group's breakthrough, after which the practice became ubiquitous.
Chi Chi, I hate to interrupt, but I think we may be straying back into the Ringo Beatles realm again. Sounds like you're talking about the Sgt. Pepper album.
Well, you know, the Beatles served as the archetypal rock band in contrast to the vocal and harmony groups that came before them. In the U.S. alone, thousands of bands sought to imitate the Beatles, some even adopting English-sounding names to capitalize on their success.
Yes, okay, that's great, but getting back to Meat Loaf.
Paradise by the Dashboard Light was a perfect example of Steinman's songwriting and Meat Loaf's performance style. It's considered to be among the greatest rock duets of all time. It was one of the songs specifically written for the album Bat Out of Hell, which also included songs that originated from Steinman's Peter Pan-based rock musical Neverland. Ellen Foley, who was cast as Wendy in early performances of Neverland, sang the duet with Meat Loaf on the recording. The three of them all had worked together on the National Lampoon Road Tour, where Foley and Meat Loaf had a history of performing over-the-top musical comedy sketches together.
That makes sense. If you watch a video of the two of them doing the song, you can tell they work together. It's definitely a high-energy performance.
Actually, those videos probably feature Carla DeVito, an actress and singer who assumed live performance responsibilities when Foley passed on the opportunity to tour in support of the album.
Still, a great performance. What was the inspiration for the song?
Steinman had stated that he wanted to write the ultimate car sex song in which everything goes horribly wrong in the end. The song opens with a male and female character reminiscing about days as a young high school couple on a date. After a bunch of shenanigans, the concluding section takes us back to the present, with both characters expressing how each can no longer stand each other.
Sounds about right. Teenage dream turned nightmare. What's up with the baseball section?
Meat Loaf was a big fan of Phil Rizzuto, and the section was written specifically for him using phrases he would actually say while announcing. It was recorded by Rizzuto with Steinman and producer Todd Rundgren at the Hit Factory in New York in 1976.
You know, Chi Chi, the Coconotes put together a cover version of the song, complete with the baseball section.
Ooh.
Now that we know a little bit of background on the song, let's check it out.
Well, I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. Parking by the lake and there was not another car inside. And I never had a girl looking any better than you did. And all the kids at school, they were wishing they were me that night. way tonight, tonight. We're gonna go all the way tonight. We're gonna go all the way tonight, tonight. We're gonna go all the way tonight. We're gonna go all the way tonight, tonight. We're gonna go all the way tonight. We're gonna go all the way tonight, tonight. Okay, here we go. We got a real pressure cooker going on here. 2 down, nobody on, no score, bottom of the ninth. There's the wind up, and there it is, a line shot up the middle. Look at him go. This boy can really fly. He's rounding first and really turning it on now. He's not letting up at all. He's gonna try for second. The ball is bobbled out in center, and here comes the throw, and what a throw! He's gonna slide in head first. Here he comes. He's out. No, wait, safe. Safe at second base. This kid really makes things happen out there. Batter steps up to the plate. Here's the pitch. He's going, and what a jump he's got. He's trying for third. Here's the throw. It's in the dirt. Safe at third. Holy cow! Stolen base. He's taking a pretty big lead out there, almost daring him to try and pick him off. The pitcher glances over, winds up, and it's bunted down the third baseline. The suicide squeeze is on. Here he comes. Squeeze play. It's gonna be close. Here's the throw. Here's the plate. The plate. Holy cow! I think he's gonna make it.
Stop right there. I gotta know right now. Before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever? Do you need me? Will you never leave me? Will you make me so happy for the rest of my life? Will you take me away? Will you make me your wife? Do you love me? Will you love me forever? Do you need me? Will you never leave me? Will you make me so happy for the rest of my life? Will you take me away? Will you make me your wife? I gotta know right now. Before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever?
Let me sleep on it. Baby, baby, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. I'll give you an answer in the morning. Let me sleep on it. Baby, baby, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. I'll give you an answer in the morning. Let me sleep on it. Baby, baby, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. I'll give you an answer in the morning.
I gotta know right now, do you love me? Will you love me forever? Do you need me? Will you never leave me? Will you make me so happy for the rest of my life? Will you take me away and will you make me your wife? I gotta know right now. Before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever? What's it gonna be, boy? Come on, I can wait all night. What's it gonna be, boy? Yes or no? Said, what's it gonna be, boy? Yes or no?
Let me sleep on it. Baby, baby, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. I'll give you an answer in the morning.
I gotta know right now, do
Let me
you love
sleep on
me?
it.
Will you love me
Baby,
forever?
baby,
Do
let me
you
sleep
need
on
me?
it.
Will you never leave me?
Let
Will
me
you make
sleep
me so
on it.
happy for the
I'll
rest
give
of
you
my
an
life?
answer in
Will
the
you take me
morning.
away? Will you take me away? I gotta know right now. Before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever?
Let me sleep on it.
Will you love me forever?
Let me sleep on it.
Said, will you love me forever?
I couldn't take it any longer, Lord. I was crazy when the feeling came upon me like a tidal wave. Started swearing to my God and on my mother's grave that I would love you to the end of time. I swore I would love you to the end of time. So now I'm praying for the end of time to hurry up and arrive. 'Cause if I gotta spend another minute with you, I don't think I can really survive. I'll never break my promise or forget my vow, but God only knows what I can do right now. I'm praying for the end of time. It's all that I can do. Ooh, ooh. Praying for the end of time so I can end my time with you. Well, it was long ago and it was far away, and it was so much better than it is today.
Well, never felt so good and never felt so right, and you were sewing like the metal on the edge of the knife. And never felt so good and never felt so right, and you were sewing like the metal on the edge of the knife. Never felt so good and never felt so right, and you were sewing like the metal on the edge of a knife. Never felt so good and never felt so right, and you were sewing.
Wow, that's a long song.
When released as a single, it was shortened from the 8-minute and 28-second album version to 7 minutes and 55 seconds, but it was still one of the longest songs to be released uncut on one side of a 7-inch 45 RPM record. In some countries, a shorter 5-minute and 32-second edit, which didn't include the baseball play-by-play section, was released. The song was certainly popular in the US, but did very well in the Netherlands, where it peaked at number 2 on the pop charts and was also a big hit in Australia.
An epic rock hit, no doubt.
Meat Loaf went on to have a long and productive career recording and touring. He released several Bat Out of Hell sequels and several other albums featuring Steinman's compositions. He also released a number of albums featuring his own songs, along with contributions from other songwriters, and had a career as an actor in television and film. He was active right up to the end, with plans for another album in the works at the time of his death in 2022.
Truly a rock legend.
I'll leave you with this interesting note. Meat Loaf was a vegetarian from 1981 to 1992. This obviously caused some confusion on account of his contrasting stage name. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, he revealed that some vegetarians wouldn't speak to him because of his name. For example, Meat Loaf was a big fan of Katie Lang, and after attending one of her shows, he asked if he could go backstage to meet her. She refused, replying, "No, his name is Meat Loaf."
Well, he should have pointed out that he was vegetarian meatloaf, just like the recipe here on the kitchen. Thank you again, Chi Chi. Great stuff about Meat Loaf. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thanks again for joining us for this edition of Magical Moments in Music here on the Two Cat Kitchen. We'll see you next time.
That's all we have time for on this episode of the Two Cat Kitchen. We hope you enjoyed our Meat Loaf theme today. We'll be doing more of these types of episodes from time to time.
We'd like to thank Sophia Pearson.
And special thanks to Dione Viracodi, who joined with the Coconotes on vocals for today's Meat Loaf cover.
I'm Rick McKinney.
And I'm Sarah Grady. See you next time on the Two Cat Kitchen.
The 2 and